Good morning. Anybody else drive all over town trying to get to Elmwood Avenue this morning? We may yet have a few people wandering in late because they haven't found how to get here yet. I don't know what's going on, but something is. Anyway, good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo. Welcome to those of you out there in YouTube land. It is good to be together. We are blessed to be here together to share truths, stories and spirituality in this beautiful place, a place which has been the site of human gatherings for many thousands of years. We meet on the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee people, and we wish to honor the ancestral guardians of this land and its waterways. Today, many indigenous people continue to call this land home and act as its stewards. May we remember that the responsibility to share and care for this land extends to all people, so this territory may be a healthy home for generations to come. I am Fran Manley. I am your worship associate this morning, and preaching this morning is the Reverend Cathy Harrington. There are lots and lots of things going on around here, especially like this week. So I'm not going to tell you about all of them. They're in this insert in your order of service, and I urge you to take that home and read it so that you don't miss anything. Let me just lift up a couple of things. First, take a deep breath. What Sunday is it? Super Sunday. And we will all be, salivating by the end of the service. Today marks the long-awaited return of Super Sunday. So plan to stay after church for a bowl of delicious soup and enjoy the company of friends, old and new. Tonight, right? Yes, tonight you can join Reverend Cathy and Rabbi Jonathan Fryrick right here for a service of music, prayer, and reflection in this rather troubled time. Now, as I said, there is lots more, and it would take us the whole service to read them all. So I'm not going to read them, but some of them are happening this week, so make sure you read your insert. Now, we have a couple of announcements. Let's see, Martha.
I'll be quick.
Martha promises to be quick.
I'll be quick. Ooh. You may have noticed that there are feathers on the tree, and that represents the number of pledge donations that we have received and put into our budget line for 2024. Thank you for those of you who have already filled out your pledge card. For those of you who haven't, we are 1/4 of the way towards our goal.
Is that what this bird is for?
No, actually, get excited, because when you see by the way, it's very hard to put the feathers on the tree. But I'm working on it, and when Elise Sykes gets back here, it's her idea. She created all this for us. I'm going to put her in charge. There will be a fancy bird when we finally reach our goal, and every time we get to a milestone marker, there'll be another bird added to the tree. Also, look out in the parish hall. Elise created this tree that will grow with the amount of money that we pull in. See you at Super Sunday.
And now the fantabulous Jessie Downs.
I like that title, The Fantabulous. Thank you. Good morning. You may be thinking, what the heck are these white screen things doing hanging around our Veridos? And if you want to find out, you should come to Incantations, the launch of Sotto Voce, a new opera company that I'm directing. This Friday, October 20th, we have a concert at 7:30, and there will be a special VIP hour before if you want to come to that, and also a really glorious reception and auction to help support our February production of The Magic Flute. So if you want to buy tickets to that, I will be in the parish hall during Super Sunday, and you should stop by and say hi and reserve your spot. Hope to see you there. Thanks.
Sure.
Okay. So in your order of service, you find a little sheet of paper, Covenanting Conversations. I'd like for everybody to attend at least one. And we need RSVP because we're going to supply some food. We're going to create a new covenant, and it's important that everybody have an input into how we want to be together. And then there's this one. Yeah.
All right, one more announcement. The auction committee has a new item to offer. You might have thought the auction was over in the spring. Ha-ha. An in-depth tour of our church given by Tom Yachts and Bill Park, who will share insights about the architectural features and interesting facts of our beautiful building. This will be next Sunday following coffee hour, 12:15 to 1:15. Tickets are $25 per person. It's an auction event, and will be limited to 20 people. Tickets are on sale in the parish hall today or by emailing Andrea Burke Harris. All right, that's it. That's it. Then let us take a little bit of time now to celebrate and deepen the community, which is our beloved congregation, by greeting our neighbors. It's a great time to welcome somebody new to our congregation or talk to somebody you haven't met yet. Hand me that long candle. I'll light it and hold it for you. No, I've got to read. Well, I could do that. I can chew gum.
So let me have to.
Oh, when you use this thing, hold it up close to the mic and the sound of it.
Okay, you're going to keep holding it?
I'll just hold it, unless you don't really have. Will this hold it? Or well, then I'll just hold it for you. That's okay. Oh, that's right. We've got a whole call to worship before we do the showers. You can ring the bell whenever you're ready. Yeah, you got it.
Oh, what a joyful noise. Good morning. I'm Reverend Cathy Harrington. I'm serving this congregation as their interim minister. Opening words this morning are chosen to reflect the war in Israel, the war between Israel and Hamas, and how difficult and challenging it is to feel so helpless and watch it from afar. We come together this morning with hearts that are ready, hearts that are heavy, hearts that are broken, and hearts that are full. Our hearts are learning to be brave. Our hearts have been brave longer than we can bear. And we come together because this thing we do, daring to bring our open hearts together, matters. In this time, we practice presence, we practice tenderness, compassion, and we come together to practice presence with one another and tenderness with those we meet and with our own aching hearts. We come together with compassion for the world. Spirit of life, we enter this moment together with open hearts. May the compassion we share fill up and overflow this space and time, and be a part of the turning of the tide for more peace, more justice, and more love throughout the earth. Amen. It's good to be together again. Now we'll light our chalice.
I invite you now to rise in body or spirit as we say together our words for lighting the chalice. We gather in loving community creating a shared vision of compassion and dignity for all to radically transform the world in which we live. And now I invite you to remain standing and open your gray hymnals to hymn number 338, I Seek the Spirit of a Child.
We have a special treat this morning. We have a child dedication, and I invite the family to come meet me at the font. Good morning, Vera. Is this on? Do I need to turn it on? It's on. Yes? Can you hear me? I need to turn it on. Nope, it looks like it's on. Hello? A little bit on? A little bit? Somebody's coming to the rescue. Okay, friends and family, we've been brought together by Vera for a very joyous occasion to recognize and welcome Vera into this world and into this circle of love. Every day a child is born is a miracle. And the opportunity to recognize the power of love and a day to give thanks for the beauty of the earth, a day to recognize that no one is brought up alone and that every person born is a savior to the world. So welcome into this circle of love as we work to dedicate ourselves and each other to the care and tending of Vera. We recognize all who have gathered here now and those who are away from us in distance and time. And we honor the ancestors who have left this world, but not our hearts. We welcome them in our minds. So let us begin this dedication with a poem from the poet Hafiz. What is the root of all these words? One thing, love. But a love so deep and sweet it needed to express itself with scents, sounds, colors that never before existed. Amanda, who do you bring to this gathered community?
Katie, godmother, Erik, godfather, Darlene, grandma, and Tim, grandpa.
And who is this?
This is Vera.
Vera. Okay, Vera Ray Fortin. Are you ready to dedicate Vera Ray Fortin to this world? Say we are.
We are.
Do you promise to care for Vera? To love her with all your heart and soul? Will you raise Vera to love justice and live with compassion? Will you extend to Vera kindness and courage? And will you encourage her to live her own dreams with bravery, with hope, and with love? Darlene and Tim, as grandparents, will you promise to care for Vera? Will you love her with all your heart and soul? Will you raise her to love justice and live with compassion? And will you extend to her kindness and courage and encourage her to live her own dreams with bravery, hope, and love? Erik and Katie, as godparents, will you promise to care for Vera, to love her with all your heart and soul, and raise her to love justice and live with compassion? Will you encourage her to live her dreams with bravery, hope, and love? So now we have more family here. I have Becky, Drew, Sydney, Danielle, Emily, Axel, and Gemma, is that the baby? She won't remember this, but you'll tell her. Do you promise to love and care for this child, Vera? Will you help her love justice and live with compassion and support her, encourage her to live her dreams with bravery, hope, and love? Okay, so now let us bless Vera with the wonders of the earth. Okay, we'll come over here. Okay. Vera Ray Fortin, this is water. May you always find your thirst quenched. May you know the joy of hard work. May your tears be cared for, and may you dance in rain and jump in pools and puddles. Vera, you are water. Sorry. Okay. Now, Vera, this is air. May your lungs be full of fresh, sweet air. May you know the joy of a good laugh, and may you find your voice through song, whispers, and shrieks of delight. May you have a life full of scents, breezes, and sighs. Vera Ray Fortin, you are air. Vera, this is fire. May it remind you of the divine spark of all creation that is in you. May it inspire you a commitment for love and justice, and may you be kept warm by the community around you, and may all your days be bright. Vera, you are fire. Oh, I'm so sorry, y'all. Big feet. Vera, this is a flower made from the earth. May you know beauty. May you know that the earth provides all you'll need. I can't find your feet, but I'm going to tickle your hands. May you be blessed everywhere you go, and may everyone be blessed by your presence. May all of your work be a blessing to the world. And may, Vera, may all you do bring joy to the world. Vera Ray Fortin, you are the earth. Here, would you like a rose? Give it to your mommy. It's thornless, I promise. Friends, it is with great joy that I present to you another gift to the world and to the community, a blessing to us all, and a joy to all who may meet this beautiful child, Vera Ray Fortin. And now let us remember the children we once were and who still live within us. Let us love them now. And let us remember the children of our own families and the children of our friends and the children in our sanctuary in this moment. Let us love them. And let us remember the children who are unsheltered, who are separated from their families, and children who are in hunger or in pain. Let us embrace them now. And may we remember all children and commit ourselves to their growth, their safety, their uniqueness, and their unfolding beauty. In the quiet of this moment, now and forevermore, may it be so. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Vera Ray Fortin. What a beautiful child. So now our children can come forward and we're going to sing you out to your classes.
Each week, as you know, we take a good portion of our Sunday offering and give it away to a social justice cause outside our church walls. This month, we are supporting the good work of the Native American Community Services. Since 1975, NACS has focused on serving the needs of the Native American population in Erie and Niagara counties living off their nation territory. NACS has been and remains a key human service provider to all facets of the community. NACS aims to strengthen individuals and families while building a sense of community in a tradition of caring. You can make your offering by PayPal, by mailing a check to the church, by arranging a regular payment from your bank, or of course, by dropping your cash or check in the offering plate. If you are writing a check, be sure to specify in the memo line whether it is for the Share the Plate ministry or for your 2023 pledge. The Reverend Peter Rabel wrote, "We build on foundations we did not lay. We warm ourselves at fires we did not light. We sit in the shade of trees we did not plant. We drink from wells we did not dig. We profit from persons we did not know. We are ever bound in community." In gratitude for our rich heritage and mindful of our responsibility to continue building for the future, let us generously support our morning offering.
From an old man, time's just sand slipping past. We want to hold it in our hands, but no one ever sees what falls through the cracks. Take it from an old man, my mistakes have made fight the good fight. of your own. Honey, hold out your hands and take it from an old man.
Our reading this morning is Monet Refuses the Operation by Liesl Müller. Monet, of course, is the painter Claude Monet, who was diagnosed with cataracts. And his doctor was apparently trying to persuade him that he should have the cataract surgery. This is the poet's idea of how he responded. And he did refuse the operation at that time. Doctor, you say there are no halos around the streetlights in Paris, and what I see is an aberration called by old age, an affliction. I tell you, it has taken me all my life to arrive at the vision of gas lamps as angels, to soften and blur and finally banish the edges you regret I don't see, to learn that the line I call the horizon does not exist, and sky and water, so long apart, are the same state of being. 54 years before I could see Rouen Cathedral is built of parallel shafts of sun. And now you want to restore my youthful errors, fixed notions of top and bottom, the illusion of three-dimensional space, wisteria separate from the bridge it covers. What can I say to convince you the Houses of Parliament dissolve night after night to become the fluid dream of the Thames? I will not return to a universe of objects that don't know each other, as if islands were not the lost children of one great continent. The world is flux, and light becomes what it touches, becomes water, lilies on water, above and below water, becomes lilac and mauve and yellow and white and cerulean lamps, small fists passing sunlight so quickly to one another that it would take long, streaming hair inside my brush to catch it, to paint the speed of light. Our weighted shapes, these verticals, burn to mix with air and change our bones, skin, clothes to gases. Doctor, if only you could see how heaven pulls earth into its arms and how infinitely the heart expands to claim this world, blue vapor without end.
In the center of our service and in the center of our lives, let us pause to honor the silences of the world. We begin our moment of silence with a centering by Rabbi Sheila Weinberg. Praying together, two peoples, one land, three faiths, one root, one earth, one mother, one sky, one beginning, one future, one destiny, one broken heart. We pray to you, grant us a vision of unity. May we see the many in the one and the one in the many. May you, life of all the world, source of all amazing differences, help us to see clearly. Guide us gently and firmly toward each other, towards peace. Amen. And now let us fill this sacred space with the names of those who are in need of our loving thoughts and prayers. And I invite you to do that now. Lift up the names of those that are in your care. Susan. The spirit of love surrounds us and holds us. We are not alone. It's good to be in this space together. Let us share a moment of silence as we hold the people in the Middle East in our hearts and all of those who need our care. May all who are suffering and in pain feel our embrace. And may those who are celebrating today, let us celebrate their joy. Amen.
Is this the little girl I carry? Is this the little boy at play? I don't remember growing older. When did they? When did she get to be a beauty? When did he grow to be so tall? Wasn't it yesterday when they were small? Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly flow the days. Seedlings turn overnight to sunflowers, blossoming even as we gaze. Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly fly the years. One season following another, maiden with happiness and tears. What words of wisdom can I give them? How can I help to ease their way? Now they must learn from one another, day by day. They look so natural together, just like two newlyweds should be. With her a canopy in store for sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset, swiftly fly the years. One season following another, laden with happiness and
David Brooks, the author of The Road to Character, was moved to explore the theme of character with what he deemed the difference between resume virtues and eulogy virtues. After he was awakened to the shifting present-day culture of humility of the past to the arrogance of the present day. So driving home one day, he listened to an old episode of Command Performance, a variety show created to support the troops during the World War II on the radio. It was a broadcast from the day after VJ, the Victory of Japan Day, on August 15th, 1945. It was a star-studded cast: Frank Sinatra, Marlene Dietrich, Cary Grant, Betty Davis, and more. He was moved by the tone of humility displayed by all. He writes, "The Allies had just completed one of the noblest military victories in human history, and yet there was no chest beating. Nobody was erecting triumphal arches. Well, it looks like this is it," the host, Bing Crosby, opened. "What can you say at a time like this? You can't throw your skimmer in the air. That is for run-of-the-mill holidays. I guess all anybody can do is say, 'Thank God, it's over.'" After a solemn version of Ave Maria sung by soprano Rise Stevens, Crosby came back on the air and said, "Today, though, our deep down feeling is one of humility." So Brooks arrived home that same day in time to tune into the football game on television and witnessed a quarterback celebrating his short pass throw that stopped the offense in its tracks. He described what followed as a self-puffing victory dance. He writes, "It occurred to me that I had just watched more self-celebration after a 2-yard gain than I had heard after the United States won World War II. Had our country lost our humility?" So further explanation, wrote Brooks, to discover that indeed we had. He wrote this: "We have moved from the little me to the big me, losing the battle between Adam 1 and Adam 2, the opposing sides of human nature as explained by Rabbi Joseph Soloveitchik in 1965. Adam 1 is the external resume Adam. He wants to build, create, and produce, and discover things. He wants high status and to win victories. Adam 2 is the internal Adam. Adam 2 wants to embody certain moral qualities, such as a serene inner character, a quiet but solid sense of right and wrong, not only to do good, but to be good. Adam 2 wants to love intimately, sacrifice self in the service of others, and to live in obedience in some transcendent truth, and have a cohesive inner soul that honors creation and one's own possibilities. Adam 1 wants to conquer the world, and Adam 2 wants to obey a call to serve the world. We live in these tensions between these two worlds. To nurture your Adam 1 career, it makes sense to cultivate your strengths. To nurture your Adam 2 moral code, it is necessary to confront your weaknesses. He emphasizes that our society today encourages us to pay attention to Adam 1 while neglecting Adam 2. We have left behind the moral tradition, he said, and become morally inarticulate. He quoted a statistic revealing that our young people today would rather work as an assistant to Justin Bieber than the president of Harvard. And when middle school girls would ask who would they most like to have dinner with, Jennifer Lopez came in first, Jesus second, and Paris Hilton third. It's often said that we teach what we need to learn the most, and Brooks admits that his purpose in writing his book was to help himself and others map out a path to a life of good character, humility, and virtue. And he uses the stories of several people to demonstrate this point, that people of humility and virtue have impressive inner cohesion. They are not leading fragmented, scattershot lives. They have achieved inner integration. I love this. They are calm, settled, and rooted. They don't crumble in adversity. Their minds are consistent and their hearts are dependable. They radiate a sort of moral joy. They answer softly when challenged. They are silent when unfairly abused. They are dignified when others try to humiliate them. Then they restrain themselves when others try to provoke. But they get things done. They have achieved a certain depth. They have not lived lives of conflict-free tranquility, but have struggled toward maturity. And he tells lives of the people who've moved through struggles of Adam 1 and then turned around. They don't come out healed, he says, they come out different. Like Francis Perkins. After witnessing people jumping to their deaths to escape the pressing flames that were roasting them at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory in 1911, she was moved to live a life of service. She found her way to the Hull House in Chicago, a settlement co-founded by Unitarian Jane Addams. Eventually, Perkins wound up serving in Roosevelt's cabinet, where she remained throughout his entire term as president, fighting for equality for the poor. She became known as the woman behind the New Deal. Her personal life was clearly affected by her vacation, and like most of the people, she was devoted and almost driven. He also writes about Dorothy Day, the founder of the Catholic worker movement, General George Marshall, Philip Randolph, George Eliot, Augustine, and Samuel Johnson. These struggles that these people endured is not unlike our own struggles. They appear to be calm and centered to those around them, but their private journals say otherwise. One doesn't arrive and never have to struggle again. It's a daily discipline. But when we accept our vocation, it isn't easy to give it up because we have made a commitment. Dorothy Day advocated for economic change and affirmed our first principle, the worth and dignity of every person. Her philosophy was stay small. Start your work from where you live with the small concrete needs right around you. Help ease tension in your workplace. Feed the person in front of you. And I love that Dorothy Day was not perfect. She was an unwed mother, living in sin, as they called it back in those days. But her legacy lives on through the Catholic worker movement. There are over 240 local Catholic worker communities providing social services, and each house has a different mission, going about social justice that is suited to the region and where they are located. He writes about Albert Schweitzer, who was a theologian, organist, musicologist, writer, humanitarian philosopher, and also a physician. When he was a German medical missionary in a hospital in an African jungle, he did not hire idealists for that hospital or people who had a self-righteous sense of how much they were giving to the world. He didn't want people who set out to do something special. He only wanted people who would perform constant acts of service with the no-nonsense attitude that they simply do what the world needs. The book is really a good book, but he preaches a little too much, using religious language that gets in the way, like the word sin, for example. But some of his critics said it was an indictment. But he feels it has hopes in that people, that he himself and others might find our own wholeness. I'm reminded of Mother Teresa's deep struggle with depression that wasn't revealed until after her death in her book, The Presence of Absence. I watched her from afar thinking, oh my God, she's so perfect. How can anybody sacrifice their lives the way she did? She suffered great anguish and feeling of fear that she might spoil God's work. And it seemed like the more success she had and worldwide attention she received, the more despair she felt. Mother Teresa, the saint of the gutters, received the Nobel Prize in 1979 for her compassionate work with the least among us, the sick and the dying and the poor, treating them with love and dignity. The Nobel Committee said in its award in 1979 it was for work undertaken in the struggle to overcome poverty and distress in the world, which also constituted a threat to peace. And when she was informed of the honor, she simply said, I am unworthy. Personally, I'm really grateful for her exemplary life and comforted to know that she struggled. She wasn't perfect, I always imagined that her dark night of the soul might also have contributed to her compassion fatigue. To say her life was hard is an understatement. Her belief in the dignity and worth of every human being led her to the streets of Calcutta to offer compassion. Okay. Am I puffing? I'm puffing, I'm sorry. So as one of my colleagues put it, though, oh, there I go again. Sorry, it's a habit, bad habit. A lot of people criticized her and said she was a fraud, but one of my colleagues said, who would you rather work with, the certain and confident Jerry Falwell or the uncertain and suffering Mother Teresa? Commitment is hard. It can be a hardship. But it was not the suffering that Teresa endured that made her a saint. It was the love with which she lived her life, in spite of the hardship and the doubt and the suffering and the depression. When she died in 1997, her missionaries were serving in 77 countries. Banners were put up all over the city of Calcutta at the time of her funeral that read, "Mother, you were a source of light in this world of darkness." Mother Teresa touched not only the people of Calcutta, but a world, the whole world. So living a life of vocation does not require that extent of martyrdom. You do not have to be driven to the point of destroying your entire personal life to lead a virtuous life. In fact, when we give love, we find our buckets are full, that we receive more than we give. I wish he had put some stories of ordinary people in his book, like the little old lady who lived in Anderson, South Carolina, who owned a teeny tiny little wig shop in downtown. I hardly ever saw any customers there, and I often wondered, how does she stay in business? And it wasn't until one of my clients was diagnosed with cancer and had to undergo chemo, who asked me to go there with her to pick out a wig to help it look natural. When we walked into that store, Kathleen was met by an angel of mercy. This woman's vocation became clear in the next hour to me as she ministered to Kathleen, giving her courage and hope and dignity and strength and letting her know she is not alone. There are angels among us, quietly doing things that are making people's lives better. Think about it for a moment. Just take a moment to think about some people you have met who are faithfully going through their day, offering kindness and hope and dignity and love to those in need. Brooks said that we don't create our lives, we are summoned by life. Viktor Frankl concluded that fate had put a moral task and an intellectual task in front of him. Fate had given him an assignment, and what an assignment it was. He wrote one of the most influential books in America that has been translated into 24 languages, Man's Search for Meaning. It's a memoir of being held prisoner in the concentration camps in Nazi Germany. The text was rejected by over 40 publishers until the Unitarian publishing company, Beacon Press, published it. He reminds us in this book to always say yes to life, no matter what happens. So if you're in your 9th decade and you don't think this sermon is for you, I have some words. In 2012, the Meadville Lombard Theological School graduation ceremony, some of us were awarded Master of Divinities and some Doctor of Ministry degrees. The keynote speaker was Reverend Dr. Lenora Montgomery. She was in her 9th decade, I think 8th decade. She was there being awarded with an honorary degree, a doctorate. The citation read, "As an agent of change, Reverend Montgomery focused her keen insights on the social and civic problems of the day. What is remarkable, however, is that she was not content to simply notice that our social world was dysfunctional, but chose to correct it and correct the problem." In her keynote address, she passed on an assignment to the graduating ministers, including me. I want you to know that Lenora is alive and well. She's 100 years old, and she lives in Houston, Texas, and she's still preaching and teaching. Here are her wise remarks at Meadville Lombard graduate dinner on May 19th, 2012. These are her words. Let me refer you to Erik Erikson, the psychologist who was interested in human development and his idea about 8 sequential stages of human life. Sequential stages from infancy to old age. It's a neat tool. Each stage, he proposed, has its developmental task, which, if achieved, prepares you for the next stage. But what has long interested me is the 8th and last stage of his life. The crisis to be met at the end of life, Erikson said, is between integrity or despair. Those individuals who have taken care of things and people, who have come to an acceptance of one's one and only life cycle, who have come to a new and different love of one's parents, free of wishing that they had been different, and who had accepted the fact that one's life is one's own responsibility, they will win through to wisdom and integrity at the end of their lives. Wisdom and integrity, if they don't, life ends in despair, according to Erikson. And you will have the high privilege of knowing both in your communities. But I am troubled. Integrity is not a fair description of what we see ahead at the end of life. Unless you step in front of a bus or have a fatal heart attack in your sleep, what lies ahead is a disintegration of body, including the brain. We experience or observe losses of sight, of hearing, of balance, of short-term memory, of the driver's license, of mobility, of home, and the sadder losses of relationships, of a partner, and of best friends. Various powers remain with each of us, but what we observe and dread are the losses. And so you have been taught that a good life is onward and upward, and then the decline. The drop-off, she writes. She writes, I think that Erikson's final, beautifully described stage is not the ultimate, but the penultimate. I think his 8th stage is the next to the last stage. Think about it. If we were to affirm the worth of every person, if we are creatures of God, are we not wholly worthy from the first breath to the last? What then should the ultimate stage look like? This last frail stage is not to prepare you for the following next stage. I don't refer you to immortality. This final stage is not future-oriented. It is to complete your growth and give your life final integrity. So the last developmental task is, what can you do under conditions of limitation? I'm not just thinking do the best you can. What if every preceding stage is a preparation for the final heroic culmination of your entire life when the hurdles are the highest? The limitations are unique to each person, and so are the remaining powers. What kindness now can you show? What good thing under these new conditions can you do? With such powers as remain, what hope will you leave? And could your congregants learn to look beyond the limitations to see how creatively their elders are thriving? How they are using their accessible power, including spiritual power, and their love beyond belief accrued in previous years? Not future-oriented, immediate, using selective memories, skills honed to present need, and streamlined. What if the course of a well-lived life goes like this, without decline? And she posed this question to us. What would your prophetic, priestly, pastoral, and social justice ministries look like if you believed this? I submit to you, she closes, that your ministry is to create the environment in which your people can so live as to succeed at that very last stage of their lives. Powerful stuff. She's still teaching this. I was listening to a TED Talk, Kathleen Taylor, who was a hospice counselor. She called it Rethinking the Bucket List. She said she found that at the end of life, people are totally incapable of bullshit, pardon my French. She said they are authentic, courageous, honest, and brave, and they can change their mind and find joy in the smallest moments. They are losing so much and diminishing in capacity, while at the same time their perspective shifts and their presence expands. When asked what the number one regret is, it was, I wish I had the courage to live the life that was true to myself and not what others expected of me. So it's never too late to shed what is false, to live our eulogy virtues instead of our resume virtues. As Taylor emphasized, it's never too early or late to find out who you are. Please rise in body or spirit and join me in singing hymn 1012 in your teal hymnal.
Standing as we say together the words for extinguishing our chalice. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love.
Benediction is from John O'Donohue, to come home to yourself. May that all that is unforgiven in you be released. And may your fears yield their deepest tranquilities. May all that is unlived in you blossom into a future graced with purpose and love. Remember that you are blessed, you are a blessing, and above all, you are not alone. You will never alone. So be it, blessed be, and let the church say, Amen.
Ooh. come true. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow. Bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dare to, why, oh, why can't I see trees of green and red roses too. I'll watch them bloom for me and you, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Well, I see skies of blue and I see clouds of white, the brightness of day. I like the dark and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry and I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than we'll ever know, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Someday I wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where trouble melts like lemon drops high above the chimney tops. That's where you'll find me, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dare to, why, oh, why can't I